A special shout out to our sponsors. The Trust Restaurant Group of San Diego are now fully open for business. We're ready to serve you at our flagship restaurant Trust, Rare Society, Cardellino, and Fort Oak. Executive chef and co-owner Brad Wise wants to share his love of good eats with our San Diego community. Chef Brad uses locally sourced ingredients that change with the season. Trust staff's aim is to provide their patrons with great food, cocktails, wine, and service. We invite you to come to any of our fine restaurants for a meal of a lifetime. In good food, we trust. Product of Rugby, the official workout t-shirt for the American rugby player. You can help the Product of Rugby charity. With every item sold, $5 goes to feed the American children. The San Diego Legion presents the Quick Tap Rugby Podcast with your hosts, CJ Johnson, San Diego Legion's own Nate Augspurger, and Celebrity Chef Rock.
Welcome to another episode of Quick Tap Rugby Podcast. I'm your host, CJ. Like always, I'm joined by MLL star, San Diego Legion star, U.S. Eagle, and my personal favorite rugby player, Nate Augspurger. How you doing, my brother?
CJ, what's happening, baby? I'm excited. I told you I'm buzzing. I don't know if it's the coffee or just life, but I'm here, baby. Let's go.
All right, I got a question for you, man, before I introduce our next host. What's it feel like to be my favorite rugby player?
Your favorite?
Yes.
Hey, you know what? It means a lot coming from you. You know what our relationship's like. This guy is my number one supporter. I love it.
I appreciate that.
You know, it hits home. It hits heart. It hits
right
home.
on, right. Also joining us, celebrity chef, host of the Chef Rock Show, the guy with the most incredible stories. I think he has a couple for us today. Chef Rock, what's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to mention that if Nate's number one, unfortunately, I guess I'm number two.
You're not even on the radar, bro. You're not even on the radar. So
I always wanted to be number two.
So Nate, we'll get right into it, man. Nate, we'll get right into it. You got a special guest you want to introduce today and talk about, man, someone you really admire and respect. So go ahead, man, introduce.
Most definitely. So we'll waste no time getting into it. A great person, a great friend, especially to my lovely wife. These two are great friends. Also, the wife of a very close friend of ours to the show, Ryan Matyas.
Ryan.
And absolute one of the best players in America, obviously. Jordan Matyas joining us today on the podcast. What's going on, Jordan?
What's up? Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks for being here. All right, so we've kind of gone through the accolades, Jordan, and you've gone from junior all-stars to collegiate All-Americans, all the way to the top. You were just recently in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. And
USA.
Yeah, go USA is dang right. Inspiring people to play rugby all over the world, especially women. But my first question is just with all the tournaments, the series that you've been on, you've been to 2 Rugby World Cups. What was the Olympic experience like, maybe in comparison to some of those events that you've been to in the past?
Yeah, I think that the Olympic experience is just so much different because you get to be surrounded by athletes of all different walks, which is super cool. Like you're just walking through the village next to Alison Felix and, like Yao Ming's there and like everyone from all these different lights of the sports world. So I think that is really something that makes it different from the World Cups.
And was it much? I mean, I know that it was different, right? We saw it on, a lot of people, including some of your teammates, had, insight into what the Olympic Village is like. How different was it because of COVID? Did it take away from the event or did it actually make it special in another way? What was that like?
I'm not sure, like compared to other Olympics, because I wasn't there, but I thought it was still really amazing and a cool experience. Like you could still trade pins with other countries and we were kind of all in our own little bubble. So maybe that enhanced it in a way and allowed us all to just, be in the moment there in the bubble and focus on the task at hand. That's how I took it anyways, instead of like maybe at World Cups and stuff like that, other tournaments, like you're traveling around and you're seeing the country at the same time. But this really forced you to focus on, just the games themselves.
Are you guys as a dominant women's team in the sevens and the 15s, like, are you guys pretty friendly with the other teams? I know what it's like to be on the men's. There's certain teams that we definitely like, have a better relationship with, or at least guys have better individual relationships with. And there's other teams where it's like, nah, we don't, even though there could be 12 other dudes that would be our best friends, we're like, nah, we don't talk to them. We never sit by them or whatever. Is it like that with you guys at all?
I would say, yeah, like there's definitely some teams that we don't mesh as well with, maybe just because like we bicker on the field more. So you just are too proud to like have a relationship with them outside of, playing the game. But we definitely have friends from different teams, which is really cool just to like see them along the different series stops and just have that familiar face around you. And I think it's really cool for afterwards too. Like some of the girls have went to New Zealand and hung out with the girls from the New Zealand team, or went to Australia and did the same thing. So I think it's cool to have that relationship outside of playing and like put playing to the side and be able to, grow the sport together. No teams.
That's great.
Jordan. So you in the Olympics, when you come back to the States, do you say you walk? I mean, I'm not trying to say you be arrogant, but do you walk around like, yeah, I was just in the Olympics, dog. Yeah, show me some love. You know what I'm saying? I was just in the Olympics. Because I know that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? I walk around.
That's what Rosie does. That's what Rosie does for you, Jordan. She's like, my friend, one of my best friends, an Olympian now.
Yeah, I'm more shy. I think I let other people do it for me because I get kind of embarrassed. So I don't necessarily say it for myself, but I let other people do it for me.
So you don't wear a shirt around and it says, I was just in the Olympics, bow to me. Like
not quite.
I'll get one for you and I'll wear it. So I just interviewed Jordan, who was in the Olympics. You know what I'm saying?
I'll let you do that. But
Jordan,
Go ahead.
Jordan, I got a question for you. Now, I watched the women play, and sometimes I think they're a little more vicious than the guys in some of the hits. What about the European women? How did they play? Were they playing rougher than you thought, or just like the same style that you guys play?
I think they came out with a fire under their butts, and
Really?
They just came with it more that day. And in the quarterfinals than we did. We had just finished playing a series against them, like 6 games in LA, and we didn't lose a single one to them. So I guess, the way that the ball bounces in sevens, it's such a short game. They came with it from the beginning and were able to hold on to it. And yeah, just something we couldn't keep up with on that particular day.
Mm.
It's like that though. I mean, like you said, Jordan, it's the feeling of, sevens tournaments, guys, they're 3 games and then 3 games the next day. Sometimes you'll play the same team twice in one tournament. And when you have to play them on the second day, you're almost like, depending on who the opposition is, you're like fired up. But sometimes it's just like, come on, we want to play somebody else.
Yeah.
Or, like you guys getting 6 warm-up games, Jordan, against Great Britain. I mean, there's some familiarity there, no difference than you defending Naya at training all year round. You start to learn some of her moves, right?
Yeah. And it's like simple mistakes can really have an effect on the whole game. It's like sometimes that's why 15s is fun to me. Like you can make a mistake, you can shake it off, and you literally have 80 minutes to like fix that. Sevens, it's like, okay, if you don't get your act together in 14 minutes, it's game over.
And it's like it's a pass, like one bad pass that could just like stick out, or one missed tackle. It's really, the pressure is crazy in sevens. It really is. It's a different game.
Did you feel the pressure? Did you feel personally the pressure?
Personally, I felt really amped about the games. I know like there wasn't a crowd and stuff, but for me, I feel like it was to my benefit because the crowd is sort of what makes me feel more anxious and I can't hear what my teammates are saying. So like I felt really present and in the moment, which was like what I was praying for. So I was grateful for that. But definitely some of my teammates are different types of players and they, feed off of the energy of the crowd. And maybe that was a disadvantage to them. But for me personally, I liked, how the setup was.
But it must feel great because you're playing in the Olympics, and you even afterwards or during, I would think that you would say, okay, if we lose, okay, that's okay. I mean, here I am at the Olympics. This is historical in your life. I mean, there's not many people that can say that, you know. I think that's pretty cool that you were there, and man, what an honor. What an honor to have you on the show. This is cool.
It would have obviously been amazing to, get a medal, but as we were like all moping around after we didn't get a medal, I was looking around the village and I'm like, okay, 95% of these people here are losers too. I'm like, we're all kind of losers, but like we did this amazing thing and we made it. So like that's an accomplishment in itself, which was like kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, or the light in the darkness of not getting a medal.
Well said.
I mean, that's how I would feel. You know what I'm saying? If I was just there, even if I on the field at the moment, I'd probably looking around. People like, hey, pay attention. Nah, I'm chilling. I'm at the Olympics. So what made? Listen. So as doing research for this interview, we were given clear instructions from Nate's wife to make sure we do a very good, thorough interview with you. So doing my research, I found that you come from good athletic stock. So what made you choose volleyball? What made you choose rugby and not volleyball or basketball or softball or something like that?
It was a really hard decision because, like you said, both my parents played basketball, and we've played since we were in diapers, basically my sister and I. Right. And we played throughout high school on the same teams and everything. Our mom was our coach, and our dad was always riding us. Right. But they never put pressure on us to only play basketball. They always involved us in other sports. And I guess I chose rugby over basketball just because I really love the physicality of it. The type of basketball player that I was physical in the paint, sometimes getting one too many fouls in the game.
Charles Barkley, huh?
Yeah. And so I didn't get fouled out in rugby. So
no,
I really
congratulated.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I guess also just a lot of rugby players can attest to that. The camaraderie that you feel in rugby is unlike any other team sport. I just feel like you're so much more bonded to your teammates, where they feel more like family. And that really stuck with me, and it's continued. And I've made so many sisters throughout my years of playing on different teams, even the short amount of time. I was still able to make that connection.
I could tell you my experience, just doing this podcast and working with Nate and being with Nate. I played sports my whole life, basketball and football and baseball. And there is a different level of connection to rugby players. And after the match, after the game, they want to talk and be friends and hang out with each other and get together. When football, when I was growing up, I was like, after games, I don't know you, bro. Get away from me. You know what I'm saying? And,
we played together.
Yeah. So I definitely sit what you say. I get what you're saying about the camaraderie, the connection, the family and stuff. But again, and your dad being a basketball player, your mom being a basketball player, I'm sure that at some point he wanted you to do it. But I guess I know he's proud of you now, being in the Olympics and being the successful career you had. You have so far.
Yeah.
Jordan, when you had a chance did they give you time to go hang out and get some real food outside the village? Were you allowed outside the village?
Technically no, because we were in a bubble, but they did have the village cafeteria had different sections of food. So you could get some Japanese food. They had ramen and sushi and dim sum and stuff there. So you could get that basically every day if you wanted to.
Some good local cuisine. They have incredible cuisine if you like Asian food, which I do.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if they had something special going on there for you guys. So
if you haven't noticed, Chef Rock is the food connoisseur of the show, so he always brings things home to food. But that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we'll get back to sports right now, Chef Rock.
I would tackle a guy if he got in line in front of me.
Jordan and Ryan have a really good sweet potato oven roasted recipe that I've had many times. So
we have to share.
Actually, they get down in the kitchen, the right way as well. All good foods.
Nice.
We don't eat bad foods at the Matyas dinner parties.
Nice.
We don't do that. So,
glad to hear that.
Jordan, I wanted to ask you, just because me and you both have spent time with Chris Brown, and he was the head coach for you guys
singer? Nah.
at the Olympics. Yeah. No, he was you guys' head coach at Tokyo. He's with you guys all the way up. And, you know, I know from my experience, and me and you have spoke about this before, that he's really tapped into how to inspire and motivate players in the team. And I just wanted to ask, what type of impact did he have on you in the team, even though you guys maybe finished at 6, which wasn't where you guys' eyes were, but just that group, what you guys were able to share with him, kind of helping you guys come together.
Yeah. I think that Brownie brought so many things to our team that were lacking before. And one thing that he really harped on was team culture. So although we didn't place where we wanted to, we were all in a good spot mentally, and we were all connected with one another, which is something we didn't have in the past. And there was just honesty, and there was trust, and there's transparency. And that just makes for such a more enjoyable environment, and allows the players to just enjoy the experience rather than stress about, politics and other stuff like that. So he really brought that together for us and allowed us to fight for each other, not just in it, one person for themselves. And obviously his skills coaching and stuff like that really helped us and grew our rugby IQ, so that we weren't just, athletic players. We were smart players. And I really appreciated that about his coaching style.
Yeah, I can second exactly what you said, Jordan. I mean, in 2019, when we suffered the last second loss to Seattle, there was still something about that team that I would never trade it back, because the environment and the culture was that good, and just everybody loved on everybody. And there was a uniqueness to that, and it's kind of the holy grail, I feel like, that we search for in a team. And obviously winning the championships and stuff are very important, but there's something about your life, your heart, your mind, your soul being fulfilled when you're on a team that operates like that.
Yeah. If you're winning and you're not having fun, it's not as worth it. And I think if you're losing and you're still having fun, there's something to that.
Amen.
Yes.
I'm with you.
I guess that's why I always had fun, because I always lost, but I was enjoying myself. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
That's a good thing. So
it doesn't make you a loser, CJ.
so Jordan, one of the things is about this podcast, we, our purpose is try to spread the word about rugby, and we use Nate as our vehicle to get the word of rugby in the United States out more. For you being a woman of color, do you try to inspire young women to actually get into sport, or women of color to get into sport? And what's your outtake on that? What's your outlook on that? I'm sorry, not your outtake. I apologize.
It's okay. Yeah, it's one of my goals to just be able to spread rugby to girls all over the world, especially because as a young girl, I didn't necessarily have role models that, looked like me. And it was always a stigma that, rugby was too tough for women, or you have to be one or the other. But I just really want to inspire that you can do whatever you want to do, and that there is no boundaries and limits to physicality for a woman. You can still be beautiful and be physical on the field. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're less feminine or more feminine. And I just hope to be that role model to the younger girls, because I never had that growing up, and it's super important for me to be that for others.
That's awesome. I think we definitely need more outlets for women in sports, and be able to use sports to get to college and to get education, because a lot of women, a lot of people in this country, period, can't afford education. You know what I'm saying? So That's a good vehicle for them, for sure.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, CJ, that most people don't recognize, and it's different everywhere, but in other parts of the world, rugby is kind of the affluent sport, or the higher class sport. And maybe it's not played as much in the lower class or whatever. And I think that's another great passion of ours in America, with being kind of farther behind. We can almost raise the game, in a way that's hopefully really awesome and will come through ultimately in our competitiveness with where we go as a country, being number one in the world, striving for those types of things. But just at the same time, it's the most inclusive sport I've ever been a part of. I love it. And I just want to keep seeing it go in that direction. And Jordan has been like just such a good example for that in so many different ways. And I think, Jordan, what you're saying now, that's just one way. There's a million other ways I could think of about how humble you are, how you carry yourself, the type of character of a person you have, what your teammates would say about you, and it's just, having special people like yourself leading the way is always good and encouraging,
Someone's looking for having a good dinner tonight with their wife. You saying all the right things, buddy.
All the things,
all those things.
You'll be bringing the wine and the flowers.
I'm just razzinating a little bit. That's all. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. Hey, Jordan, I had a question for you. How does it line up with? I know we had spoken about it on the show quite a few times, especially with the collegiate draft coming and all that fun stuff that is transpiring. How does it line up with college women rugby versus men? Now, I know that, obviously you pick out a certain colleges, as we mentioned, some top schools. Is it the same for women rugby in college? Do they get the same opportunity?
There's not like a ton of opportunity, but there is opportunity, to get scholarships and get into schools because of rugby. But I think that's one of the, driving factors for us just to excel rugby in America is to hopefully create more opportunities for women to get scholarships and get to the, that post-secondary level through rugby. And hopefully with the growth of rugby, we'll start to see more rugby in, NCAA maybe, or, just at least giving those D1 opportunities for athletes in rugby.
Where do you rate the club rugby scene for women right now, Jordan? Like, do you think it's still a really great place to identify talent for girls who do want to, get on the USA path? What do you think? I know the club nationals was this past weekend. There's a handful of USA players like Hope, a good friend of yours. Hope was playing with a couple other girls for Life West, and they're competing at club nationals. I just think, for them to go out and play at that level, it just inspires all the other people that are playing there as well. What's the grade? Where are we at with women's club rugby in America?
Yeah, I think without club rugby in America, we wouldn't, like, half the people on my team wouldn't be where they are today. Like, we need it. And especially because, rugby's not as popular. So a lot of, older girls pick up the sport who have already played college sports, and that's where they do pick it up. And we've had some crazy freak athletes that came from the club level, and it's exciting to, watch Club Sevens. And I saw on Life West, there was a girl, she just started playing like 3 months ago, and she was killing it. Like, she was in the final and starting. So I think that it's very important and crucial to the growth of rugby. Christy Kirsch, who's on our team, she played collegiate soccer. She had a regular desk job. Then she found club rugby, and now she made the, all-star team for the year in 2019. Wow. So I think club rugby here is really important, and hopefully it keeps getting that exposure and keeps drawing in new athletes, because we do get a lot of our athletes from club rugby.
Yeah. Do you think there'll ever be a women's MLR? I know they got the premiership overseas now. Kate Zachary is actually captaining the Wasps, I think this weekend. And a few other of your teammates on the 15s team have chosen to go over there and play. Do you see a future like that for the MLR?
We're all hoping and praying for that. I mean, we have that new PR Sevens coming, which is like a professional, they're trying to make it a professional Sevens league, and women's are involved in that. So I think that's exciting. And if we can keep that push on to get, a female 15s professional league where athletes can just play like almost year round and get that exposure, because that's what we need as a country to just go to the next level, because we have the athletes. It's just about game time and playing more high level rugby. So I think that as long as the men's MLR keeps going the way that it is going, we are will be able to follow in the footsteps and kind of use that platform.
I know it's kind of early in your career to think about it, but do you think about when you hang up your cleats, or do you think about coaching or think about participating in rugby at college level or coaching level or something like that to inspire young women to play or coach them? Do you think about that at all?
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I mean, I'm 28 now, and Ryan and I are thinking like in the next few years if we want to start a family and stuff like that. But I can't imagine myself not being involved in rugby some way or another. I mean, I do want to be a physical therapist when I grow up when I get a real job.
Yeah.
But hopefully, like, I can be involved with that in the sport would be so amazing to me. I might be jealous, watching the girls play, but I want to be able to give back to the sport and continuously give to the sport until like it's where it needs to be.
So that involves coaching. Would you coach? Would you take the opportunity to coach a men's team or coach on a men's team?
Yeah, I mean,
I see it all the time in the NFL now.
Yeah, I think it would be amazing to like be Ryan's assistant coach. I'm not a head coach type of gal, but like right. If I could be an assistant coach for a men's team, I would be all for it. And but I also would love to coach women as well, just to grow the game for women.
Right.
Cool. Yeah, I don't laugh out of not believing that you're capable of it, Jordan. I laugh because obviously I know you and Ryan. That's the only reason why, just so you know.
Yeah.
I really believe all your capabilities in coaching for sure. And Ryan's
I don't believe in my head coach capabilities. Yeah.
What were you saying about Ryan?
I'll let him take the lead.
Let him take the lead.
What were you saying about Ryan? Ryan he has potential to be a great coach?
Absolutely. Yeah. Ryan already is one of the best coaches in Southern California right now with the amount of coaching that he's done at the youth level. And then obviously he's played at a high level. So, I mean, you gotta be smart about how you give credibility to us who just because we play at a high level doesn't mean you're necessarily a good coach. But Ryan's one of those guys that I think the impact that he's already had at the youth level that, I mean, hop on board and get on that pathway to coaching, and he could go as far as he wants until he finds exactly where he wants to be. And so, yeah, Ryan Matyas would be a great coach.
I've never asked this question of you, Nate. Do you look at yourself as a possible coach in the MLR or something like that? I know you coach now. You do coaching and stuff.
You'd be good.
Like that.
Hey, CJ, I'm a scrum half, man. We got to know everything about the team, what's happening. Right. We got to know the ins and outs. So naturally, I study a lot. Like I told you guys, I was doing some studying before we got on. And so I do love the X and O's of the game. And I like to think, obviously, that I could have an impact. Obviously, with youth is great. I love giving back right now. And that's kind of where my focus is.
No, absolutely. I believe in giving back as well. So
exactly.
You had something to add, Chef Rock. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No. It's funny because I was thinking back on, like the origin of rugby. And if I got a quick story. Back when I graduated
this is the
college,
time for the Chef Rock stories.
Like in 1979, when I graduated college, I was telling Nate earlier, we didn't even finish the graduation. We left in the middle of graduation with 19 guys from college, Johnson and Wales. Got on a plane and we flew to Europe. I got to go for free because I put 19 people together. So it was a really cool trip. So I remember we were in Italy and we were in Rome and we heard about this medieval football game outside the Roman Colosseum. So we go there and there's like, I don't know, maybe 60,000 people there. And these guys come out on the field with the big old baggy pants and it's North against South Italy. And we had no idea what kind of game it was. So we're all sitting on these benches. And all of a sudden, they line up like a football kickoff, but it was a rugby ball. And they start playing, and they literally, all the end guys just jumped on the guy across from him, and they're literally punching him out. And they're like stretchers coming out in the middle of the game, and they're pulling guys off, and they're going crazy. And when they ran down for the score, and they still had to pitch somewhat like soccer, and then football, and then rugby, and they would go throw it into this little hoop to get the score. Well, right through the middle of the game, somebody got mad about the other side, and all of a sudden there's tear gas in the stadium. And we're like, what the heck is going on? And people are moving. They got these guys all in green shirts. They're running on the field up in the stands, and they're like beating the crap out of people. Bottom line is we're sitting there going, okay, so what do we do? And then all of a sudden these two guys walk up to me and they go, hey, Rock, how are you? And I am in the middle of a 60,000 group of people. I have no idea except for the 10 guys I'm with. And they look at me and they go, it's us from Providence, Rhode Island. And it was these two guys we called the Ugly Brothers because they got beat up so many times by me and I was a bouncer in the bar, and I would throw these guys out every weekend with a beating. And here they are standing next to me, and I thought they were there to kick my butt.
No, that is crazy.
It was pretty crazy. And we sat down with them, and I was like, hey, what do I say to the guys? So the bottom line was this game was so incredible. I still remember it to this day, where when I watch you guys play rugby, I keep thinking the same thing except for the fist fights on the field.
I was just gonna say, I think a lot of people watch rugby right now and probably think the exact same thing as you watching that.
Yeah, it was like crazy,
Jordan, we apologize you had to sit through that.
Sorry.
But that's what we do every episode. We have the Chef Rock stories, and it keeps us humble a little bit. So listen, as we run out of time, we want to thank you for coming, but we want to give you an opportunity to take this moment to say, give the world some advice, give the world's in turmoil some around the country, and whether it's Afghanistan or the United States or COVID, whatever. We give this opportunity for our athletes to come on the show to give some advice to inspire young people, inspire the listeners. What would you give? What would you say to our audience about just about anything?
Just to find joy in the little things and the moments in life, because as we all know, you never know what's going to happen, and just make sure you're just being present and don't stress too much about things that you can't control. Because that's what I've been doing recently with all the stuff going on in the world today, just focusing on the moments and what you can take every little piece of joy that you find in life and just relish in it.
Awesome. Jordan, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jordan.
We appreciate you having you on the show, and it's been awesome. And so listen, we're hoping and praying that Nate's wife gives us a thumbs up so we can actually be friends. You know what I'm saying?
An invite.
All right, so this is what we say.
I hope Rosie gives me a thumbs up too.
Exactly. All right.
I'll bring dessert.
Quick tap out, my peoples. Have a great day. Enjoy your
Quick tap out. Thanks again, Jordan.
See ya.